Oh, hey, what's going on? I actually just pressed that and I didn't even know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining me. The chat is already going off. I appreciate you guys joining me. So today is a very exciting day. I have a first-time guest joining me. I think he's making his debut on YouTube. So that's very exciting for me. I've gotten to know this guy. He's a great guy, solid guy, knowledgeable, really into comics, of course, because this is a comic channel. First off, I want to bring in my co-host, my little / big brother, Keon. Key Issues.
Bow! It's your boy Keys. What's happening?
Hold on, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right, chilling. New comic book day is a little stressful, but hey, we made it through.
Stressful,
buddy. We were all looking for a bunch of issues. We couldn't find everything, but it is what it is. We made do with what we had, right?
It was a little crazy. It was a little crazy.
Yeah, man.
I think for the most part, though, we found what we wanted. We got the books that we wanted, right?
Honestly, for my PC, yeah. So I can't complain there.
Yeah, I think the only one that I wish I would have got is that 1 in 25, the Dream, the first Ruin. I wish I would have got that one because that one's a dope cover. It's a blue. I really wish I would have got that one, but of course, our shops, they're little shops. They don't have a lot of copies. I think overall in 4 shops they ordered maybe 5 copies. Me and Keys got 2 of those, so it is what it is. So today we're going to be talking about Comic Grails, grails that we would love to have in our collection. But I think most of you are wanting to know who our special guest is. So, like I said,
that was me.
No, man. You're not special. You're old news. So he's making his debut on YouTube. I know he's going to have content coming in the near future, I believe. But let's give a warm welcome. I know the chat. You guys have seen him throughout. And again, before I even bring him in, make sure you guys sub the guests, the chat, sub each other, like your stuff. Go check everyone's content. Without further ado, I don't have a drum, but somebody I consider a really good friend in this industry. He's American. I don't know if that means anything, but it's my boy, FaceTime. What's going on, FaceTime?
What's going on, everyone? Good to see you. We're going to talk about our graphs today.
Oh, yeah.
Keys is always a special guest.
Yeah. Thank you. Jeez, man. His first appearance.
It's newbie and FaceTime with special guest Keon, I guess. That's how we'll do it.
Of course. It's always Keys.
So, how did you do on New Comic Book Day before we get started?
I didn't do too bad today. I made out pretty good. I did get that actually, that blue Ruin cover that you're liking, but I had to order it online, so I'm gonna have to wait a few weeks before I get it.
Yeah, man. Honestly, that's one of the ones. From the start, I was like, I hope one of the shops gets it. But when we were talking to the shops, they said, the one guy I think laughed at me. He's like, we didn't order 5 copies, and I was like, oh, okay then. So that was a little.
Yeah, my local store wasn't close either.
No, yeah. There was a lot. There was a few. I know everybody was hung up on Empire 4, the Dark Legends, and what's the other book that everybody was hung up on, Keys?
I mean, it's well, they're not hung up, but Batman. I had to scoop.
Yeah, Joker War.
Because Batman's appearance, right? Clown Hunter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I yet to read it.
FaceTime, did you end up getting the yellow cover for that, the variant?
I believe that is one we got ordered. Also, I think.
Yeah, that one's a hard one. Beautiful cover though, super crisp. I love that yellow cover. It reminds me of that Wolverine one. Yeah, man. I'm probably gonna overpay for either or of those now. It's just the business of the game, right?
Yeah, the design variants are all pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, guys, we're gonna be talking about grails, personal grails. You guys know some of the answers Key Issues gives, so there's probably going to be some laughing. There's probably going to be some what the hell's going on here? Sana's in here, so I know she'll be kind of probably rolling her eyes at some of the answers Keys gives, probably some of them I give, but nevertheless. So we're going to start off. I know we each have about 15 or 20. Let's probably get it to 10. We'll talk about 10, and then if we have some honorable mentions, things like that, because I'm assuming some of us might have some that we repeat. So being the host, I will go first. At number 10, I guess you could say, for me, it's Amazing Spider-Man 15. first Craven. This is a character I kind of grew up with just because of the fact of, being on that 1990s cartoon. And you guys have heard me talk about that all the time. Like that's, I think I even told Burke when I was on his show, when he asked me like, oh, what got you into this? It was that 1990s Spider-Man show. For that reason, he was a prominent character, and it's a character that we haven't seen yet. I think they're building up to the Sinister Six, so I don't know if we're going to see this character, because if they go traditional, he isn't in that Sinister Six, right? So we could see him kind of like in the shadows or something like that. But I think that would be a good villain to see on the screens. And this book, guys, I mean, I know you guys know about the book. I know some people in the chat, but this is like, I think low grade. You're talking about like a $600 book, $650, somewhere around there already.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Craven, though, man, I did not see that coming.
Yeah. Dude,
Right? That was off the wall.
Yeah.
You guys were expecting like what, 10 books that were Iron Man or something?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. All right, man. So I guess I'll take next. Got to jump off Newbie's point here with the 90s Spider-Man animated series. Venom was probably one of my favorite characters to come out of that show. So I got to go with Amazing Spider-Man number 316. Now, for some of you guys, this is pretty affordable. It is the first Venom cover. It is a legendary cover with Venom on top of Spider-Man, looking like he just a boxer man's out. It's absolutely stunning. The artwork was done by one of my favorite artists, Todd McFarlane. I actually have a shirt of that same artwork because I can't afford the book yet. So, yeah, man, that's. Say what?
Does it have sleeves?
Don't worry about it. They're really, really, really short t-shirt sleeves, yo. Yeah, man, that's definitely on my grail because Venom's one of my favorite characters. Yes, the first appearance would have been cool, but that cover is just legendary.
Just refresh my memory because I got like a lot of comics that I've seen today. That's the one where Venom is holding that skull, right?
Or no, that's the one where Venom is on top of Spider-Man and he's about to whoop ass.
Yeah. Actually, they just did that Spider-Gwen 25, the Savage Venom version of her, actually for 25, her actual first appearance. They actually did a homage to that cover too. They have it the same way. So, yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, we bumped into that Funko.
I love that cover.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful.
It's
beautiful cover.
Spider-Man, man, just anything Spider-Man. I think if you're a Venom fan, I mean, I know I'm going on a limb here because like I don't have that book, but I mean, most Venom fans have that book. It's one that they kind of, pair up with 298, 299, and 300, 301 too. So not a bad book at all, man. Pricey, you're right. I think low end, you're talking what, maybe $200?
Something like a decent grade, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Really high. I mean, obviously, if you're talking about like 96, 98, obviously you're going to be paying like anywhere between 3 and 5. So
when I make it, boys, that's the one I'm getting. I want that slabbed.
Oh my god! I know that's the first one you'll get, but big time. The first book you will be talking about officially on this channel. Personal.
No pressure. No.
All right. So for my number 10, my number 10 is actually relatively affordable. It's one that I don't have yet, surprisingly. I'm a big fan of the 1980s cartoons. So for number 10, I got Transformers number 1. You get the first appearance of all the Autobots, all the Decepticons for the most part. Like, I mean, it's a quality book to have. Any of the early Transformers stuff is really good to have. And I hear they're doing some new movies, so we would have to with them.
Yeah, I think FaceTime was the one that really got me lately into getting into the cartoons of comics. I know we've had discussions, throughout the weeks. I mean, we talk every day, but throughout the weeks, you had mentioned like, hey, just be on the lookout for the old school cartoons and things like that. So yeah, it's not bad, and it's also that nostalgia feel too, right? I mean, we all grew up with these. Yeah. So now as like adults, we can get them and stuff. So it's kind of cool, man.
Mr. Freeze is a big Transformers fan.
Yeah,
he would love that pick.
Huge, yeah. But he's big on a lot of cartoons in general, though, right?
all the shitty cartoons. Yeah.
Well, hey, teach their own. Hey, teach their own. Teach their own. So, all right, my number 9. This is gonna surprise a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people would have said this. Like if they said, "Hey, yeah, newbie," his probably his 9th one is probably this. But and if Lasso's here, I think Lasso will appreciate this. But it's Showcase 22. It is
okay.
Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Where that come from?
That's probably my only DC character that I actually like. I mean, yes, they did a movie. Yes, Ryan Reynolds, who is Canadian, played him. He did horribly. A lot of Canadians just don't even mention that movie when it comes to him.
A lot of people don't mention that movie at all in general.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think a lot of people in general. This is a character that if DC were to hit on it, I think they could have something because he is an iconic figure. I think if you look at just Justice League and what they could do, you're talking about someone way cooler than, like, say, an Aquaman, way cooler than Flash. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I think it goes Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern in that. I'm just saying, like, with what they could do and things like that, I think that's the top 3. You know what I mean? Especially how they portrayed Flash in and Aquaman in Justice League. You know what I mean? Like, that's not true to form, right? So for those reasons, I think he's badass. And he could have, like, if they did him properly, I think they could have something massive because it would change. Like, let's face it, how many times have you gone into a collection? You see, like, let's say 10 long boxes, and like 3 of them are just Green Lantern because nobody picks up Green Lantern.
Yeah.
No, it could totally change the way you view it. It could change the market, you know. So that is definitely something I look to in that as well, because if they were to hit it and it would become popular, it would be even more. Like, let's face it, it's not a mainstream character. Like, not a lot of people talk about Green Lantern, and it's still like a $1,000 book.
Right.
So, you know, it is.
Yeah, it's a solid choice, definitely.
Yeah.
I always wonder why they never got Nathan Fillion, like why they never went after him more to play Green Lantern in the movies. He seems like a natural choice for it, and I think people would love him.
Nathan Fillion?
Nathan Fillion. He
Is
actually
that
did a
the
lot
guy?
of the voice for the Green Lantern in the animated series. He played Castle on TV. He was in
Yeah.
Firefly.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Boy.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seems like a real good choice for Hal.
I think I think they're probably gonna go younger.
Yeah, no, obviously they would have had to get him years ago, but
Yeah. See, Lasso agrees with me. Lasso says, solid choice. Thank you,
yeah,
Lasso.
definitely a solid choice.
All right, Keys.
All right. So now this is Grails, man. So they don't have to be worth that much. They could just have sentimental value. This one, unfortunately, is worth a little too damn much for me to pick up. So it dropped in 1973. My pick would have to be Tomb of Dracula number 10.
Oh, okay.
First appearance of Blade. All right, so here, like, debatably, those Blade movies are what really were like, hey, we can make a Marvel movie successful. They had their own universe. They had their own tone. Wesley Snipes was badass. To be honest, I'll mix mulatto, biracial, however you want to say it. So it was awesome to see African-American on the big screen, whooping ass, doing his thing, and then go watch Batman later or something else later and see the rest of them. He honestly, the team also Spider-Man in the comics, in the animated series, him and just a bunch of characters always come together, and he's absolutely one of my favorite characters of all time. We got that new guy, I forget his name, the actor's name, but I cannot wait for the MCU to use his character properly. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this. That's why it's in the Grail.
Yeah, you know what? That is a big book, and even though some of those movies have flopped, because let's face it, I mean, you look at those Blade movies, they're not the greatest, right?
What?
They've already come, and here's the issue with this book, and I don't understand is, okay, they've had 3 movies of it, and whatever your opinion is, that's great. But when you talk about an overall, right? Like, we could talk about Batman, and you talk about, like, the Joker movies. You know, like, you have that one movie that stands out. When you talk about Blade, none of them really stand out. And yet the book is still crazy expensive. And it'll probably go up because they're gonna do more movies. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Yeah, of course. Home team.
Yeah, like they were saying in chat, it's Mahershala Ali that's going to be playing the new Blade. And he's been in some Marvel stuff. He's he's been solid in everything that I've seen him in. I think it's a good choice. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
even TK
Man, Blade and Blade 2 are fire.
You know what?
Fire.
What?
Blade, Blade Trinity.
I like that one where I think it's 2 or 3, but Jessica Biel. I used to have a huge crush on Jessica Biel. Huge crush.
So you didn't like the movie, you just like looking at Jessica Biel in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's
Blade 3 was garbage.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, but if you look at that movie now, like if you watch that movie now too, like Ryan Reynolds, like you can definitely just see. Like I feel like he's been playing the same role. Like you go back to that movie, it's like, does he already know he's Deadpool? Like
Hannibal King, that's who he was in the movie.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Triple H is in that movie.
Yeah,
right?
bro, come on. What's not to love?
Triple H, yeah. There's a few wrestlers in that, yeah. But
yeah,
I explained all the reasons why this movie wasn't good.
All right, FaceTime, your next grail.
All right, so for my next grail, I got Thor 337. It's the first appearance of. Go ahead, take a shot.
Hold on, I'm still in the 200s here. 337. Is that New Warrior? No, that's 416.
Oh, you're thinking Thunderbolts.
No, 416?
Thunderbolts?
439?
Thunderbolts is something like that.
Yeah? Okay. No, I give up,
That's
man.
not my girl. 337, first beta. TK's bad
Oh,
got it.
Okay,
first beta Ray Bill.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he's a classic Thor character, and he's one of those characters. He's got a following, and like I'm one of his followers, and his followers are pretty, you know,
hardcore, man.
Yeah, they're pretty hardcore about him. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a great character. Coming in with Stormbreaker, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with him in the new line. They just destroyed his hammer, so
when that Thor movie Ragnarok came out, and you saw him, you know, when like the ship flies over, like where
the statue.
How excited were you?
Oh my god, I was so excited. I was really hoping we were going to see him in the movie, but of course we didn't actually get him.
I thought so too. I really did. Yeah, it's going to be interesting if they bring him in. I think we might see him maybe cameo in that Love and Thunder, but I don't see we'll see like a full like, you know, whatever. I think we might just see like one of those end credits or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of halfway expect them to bring him in and transition him more into like Guardians of the Galaxy, but
yeah, definitely, because that's the route they're going, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. All right, well, my number 8 is a little surprising to nobody, to absolutely nobody. It is Amazing Spider-Man 300, Venom. Obviously, you guys know it's Iron Man and Venom 1, 2 for me. This is a book that's eluded me. I've seen so many copies in the wild, but just poor condition. And I don't think that I would be doing it justice if I was getting it in very low condition. I've passed it up a few times thanks to COVID. Thank you so much. But that's an attainable book, I believe. I mean, I think a 9.2, and again, these are Canadian prices, guys. But yeah, 9.2, 9.4, you're looking at about almost $600-700. It's not crazy, but you're still reaching that mark. I think it's an iconic character. A lot of the newer generation, so people younger than us, are growing up more so with Venom. Like back then when I was growing up and I said I like Venom, people were like, who or what? You know, like a lot of my classmates didn't know who that was. Things like that. Like there was just not the popularity for him wasn't there, right?
Wow.
Where now it's like, you know, the kids are growing up with like Venom and Carnage and Null and things like that. So I think moving forward, it's a book that will always hold value just because it's going to end up being one of those characters that you always talk about, right?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's on. I mean, I actually didn't put it on my grail list just because I knew that one of you guys was going to probably pick it. So it's definitely a grail for, I think, just about everyone.
Oh, 100% TK. That's the problem though. Like you run into this issue where like I know because originally we did 20 books, but then we kind of just shortened it down to 10. And if we have time, we'll go back to the next 10. But we're kind of going from 10 to 1. But a lot of these books, like I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh, it would be smarter to just buy them now. You know what I mean? A lot of these characters. Yeah. Then it's like, do I go broke? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy for some of these.
I say that every time I see one on my list for sale.
Yeah, I start thinking, I'm like doing the calculation. I'm like, you know, I'm lucky because I have a, you know, like my girlfriend is like, one, she's amazing. So if she's watching, I know she says she always watches, but if she's watching, she's amazing. She'll always tell me, hey, do you want some book money or do you want me to buy you a book? She was the one that pushed me to buy Venom when I was going to buy it. And then I was like, no. Let's hold on, right? Let's wait till after COVID. But yeah, some of these books that, you know, you got to always stay in your mean and stay in your budget. So that's the issue with it. But eventually that one will be in my possession. I guarantee you by the end of next year, that one will be in my possession.
Yeah.
My girl be lying.
I think we're lucky in that we got some pretty good girls.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Y'all just trying to get those brownie points right now. Damn, man.
Hey, listen, this is all over YouTube, so you know I'm definitely scoring brownie points.
If it goes south, like, you know, if we break up and like, you know, in the future, I'll update this video and be like, you know, she was terrible. But
God, you're savage.
The breakup video.
Keys number 7 for you.
I don't know what the hell number it is. I'll just go with one.
Right.
I'm a Spawn fan. There's probably not many of me out here in the chat, but if you're a Spawn fan, back in 2008, yo, cheers, buddy. Back in 2008. Spawn 185 dropped. It's affordable. I just don't have it because I've been trying to look for it like locally. No luck whatsoever. So Spawn 185, there's a huge buildup in the issues beforehand, and Al Simmons' Spawn is fed up. He's done killed everyone. He's murked the world. He's trapped God, the devil. This man has done everything, created a whole new earth. Goes in a back alley, and the dude offs himself. Firstly, this whole 184 issues beforehand, you're like, this guy is impossible to kill. You're pretty much God level. And he just straight up blows his freaking head off. And you're just like, what the hell? I have this digitally, unfortunately. I don't have a physical copy. And my jaw dropped. People are going to hate it. It was perfect. It was like the perfect ending to the character. Then right after that, there's a new Spawn. He wakes up, no idea who he is. That was pretty cool. Some people are going to hate this choice. But if you are a Spawn fan, 185, cop that. That shit was legendary.
And I think, Keys, I think you're touching on a really good point here. Because you're saying, like, a lot of people might not understand or might not be, you know, like, down with the pick. However, that's the whole beauty of collecting and Grails, is the fact that it's your opinion. So the fact that you like this character and you see it as a Grail, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like, I hate when people are like so generic with their thing and they're afraid to say what an actual Grail of it theirs is. Like, that's what you collect. Don't just follow what everybody else is doing, right? So no, man, I think that's a good thing to show and you know, and support, because like I'm all about the new collectors and things like that, making it easier. So it's definitely something I preach, where it's like, man, collect what you want. Just because it's not a Grail to me or you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean it can't be for you. So
facts.
Yeah, Magelasso, you're right on, spot on. Man, this guy's trying to get me into Spawn all the time.
Always.
All right, FaceTime. Next book.
All right, so to like actually just drive home the point you were just talking about, my next book is it's actually a really short book to talk about. It's Detective Comics 880. There's not actually anything that really happens in it. It's just a really cool cover on it.
Yeah, that's that Joker one, right?
Yeah, the Jock cover. Yep.
Oh,
man, that's a book when it came out. I was like, man, this is dope. However, it's always just been like super pricey, and with like
it is. That's all it's got going for it.
Yeah, right. So like I have a tough time like getting some of those covers where like there is no significance. It's just like the cover, because then you're like, okay, well, why don't I put that money into something that, you know, like I kind of want. So that's kind of the issue like I run into with that one for sure. Yeah, because there's also that that Joker Neil Adams one, like that iconic cover where I think Batman's on like the cover on a card.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah, that's iconic.
two 257 or something like that.
Somewhere around there. I always mix up the numbers when it comes to DC, but yeah, like same with that one, right? Like that one, you're looking at like 350 somewhere around there. So
Right.
when you're just looking at like, okay, it's iconic because of the cover, or I could spend that money and get like something, you know, not more better, because some people have that as their grail, right? It's just like it comes down to like personal opinion, I guess, and for the money value, I'd rather just go get something that has more significance to me, I guess. Right?
Yep.
So this next one might surprise Keys, because we never talk about this character. Never talk about this character. I don't think I've talked about this character ever to anybody in the chat. I know I haven't talked about this character with FaceTime. No one. This next book, for me, I think it's just significant because it's one of the biggest debates in comics. It is a very sought-after book. It's a badass battle. This book is Hulk 181. Yeah. I mean, I think this is one of those books that like everybody kind of has on the Grail list because it is one of those iconic books. And again, I think I almost like it more just because of the debate that it still has. Like so many years later, it's like, which one is it? Is it 180 or 181? Right.
Right.
So, you know, I kind of want to go and say that 180 is the one I'd rather have. One, it's cheaper, but just because of just to play devil's advocate, I guess. You know what I mean?
You always look at it like the market sets it with the value of the book. If it's the more valuable of the two, then that's what people are buying. I guess that's the first experience.
And that book's blown up in the last like year to 18 months. Even 182, like both of those books have just blown up to the point where it's like it's getting crazy for all three books. And you got to remember the cover. Like Wolverine just looks so different than the Wolverine that we know, like in cartoons and in comics now. So that's another reason why it's like I love to have that debate where people are like where they don't see it, or people who aren't in comics and they're like, well, that doesn't look right. So like, it's kind of cool to just talk about that. So yeah,
it's iconic cover, man.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
All right, Keys.
Whew. All right. So where are we gonna go with on this one? I gotta go. Remember back when we watched Endgame?
Frozen there. I was like, what?
No.
All right. What happened? Is he okay?
Back when we watched Endgame, that shit was so hype when everyone came on screen. That was probably one of the hypest moments of my life watching a movie. But rewind a few years back when Tom Hardy comes through as Bane and breaks Batman's back as an homage to Batman 497. I literally stood up in the theater, and as Batman was coming down, I slowly came back down like, oh, they did it. That is on my holy grail, man. It came out in 93. Yes, it's hella affordable. I actually don't know why I don't have this right now.
I think we here in Canada can find that for about between 120 and 180, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Raw, not great. Yeah, not graded at all. Graded ones are pretty badass. I love that pick just because
love it.
I think we've talked about it. I love those iconic scenes in comics when they transition to the big screen. Like for me, Iron Man 2, The Demon in a Bottle, like that. That's a controversial and iconic book, and then you get to see it kind of in the movie. That Bane one. You know, I kind of hope that they do a Thing versus Hulk, like I spoke about yesterday, because that's another one that I think they should do. But it is cool when they take these iconic comics or events in comics and just and show us, because a lot of us who read it and follow it, that's what you want to see, right?
That's what we live for, man. Especially done right. Oh my God.
I will say, Keith, some of yours are more affordable than some of the ones me and FaceTime are mentioning.
Yeah, a little bit. But, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I got some that are definitely affordable. So
no, yeah, definitely, man.
I didn't want to make an impossible grail list. You know what I'm saying? I'd be here all day. Like, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, if you went like that, everybody had the same list: Action 1, Tech
Yeah.
27, Amazing Fantasy 15.
1039,
15.
Yeah,
15 is on my list, but I'm not
AFM
gonna say it.
or Amazing Fantasy 15.
It's on the list, but I don't
Oh
want to
yeah,
say it, bro. Everybody.
yeah. I mean, that's obviously that's it. That's
of
good.
course. Come on. All right,
All right.
FaceTime. Your next book.
So for my next one, I actually have a 2-for-1.
Ooh.
And me and Newbie, we've talked about this book before. It's Fantastic Four, Annual Number 6. The first appearance of Franklin Richards, first appearance of Annihilus. Annihilus is one of my favorite characters. I'm a big villains guy. Annihilus is one of my favorites, so I had to put him on the list. And Franklin's a great character too. I mean, he's obviously super powerful. So, well, was I don't know what they're doing with him now.
That has been one of my grails since I got into comics. And I just picked mine up, 5.5.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I got, man, honestly, this thing looks so sharp. Like, I don't even know how it's a half, dude. I think it could be like a 6. It's super sharp, super clean. I'm not even just saying it because it's mine. Like, I'm excited, as you guys can tell.
Mhm.
But yeah, the feeling you get when you buy one of your grails and you get it, it just beats any other feeling. So yeah, I totally recommend buying one of your grails before you get too old and you can't remember. But yeah, man, we've talked about this character a lot. It's a
Definitely.
badass character, and the book is a 2-for-1. He's right.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. You got Annihilus and you got Franklin Richards. So if one of them hits or if both hit, it's perfect. I've been an advocate of Secret Wars. I think it's coming. And if you guys have read this book and you've read the events of Secret War, Franklin Richards has a big what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's big on why it happens and things like that. So it's possible that we see him. Plus, Fantastic Four's coming. We know that they don't just do one movie. They're going to probably do 3. If it's successful, more. I can totally see them having like an end scene where we kind of see that she's like Sue Richards is pregnant or something like that. So yeah, definitely a book I would recommend grabbing. I try to grab this book anytime I can, affordably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not a bad pick, man. Anything Fantastic Four to me, like that early stuff, like the first, I would say 50 issues is pretty well 52. I guess I'll go 52 because Black Panther. I don't want to say 50 and then
Right.
51 and 52, but
Yeah.
Before we go, thoughts on 48? Inhumans? Like, I know the show Bounce and things like that, and you hear people say, hey, grab it now before it gets too hot. I don't know if it'll ever recover, though.
I've actually heard that they're going to be, for all intents and purposes, rebooting the Inhumans in the MCU. And I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen. What I've been reading has said that it's actually going to take place mostly in Agents of Shield. They're doing some time travel stuff on there that's I guess going to somehow readjust the Inhumans to eventually I guess be a part of the MCU. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but it's just been in a few things that I've read recently. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I remember being so hyped on that book, thinking like. I remember I almost paid like $400 or $500 for that book before the show.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't because I'd be eating.
Yeah, and then the show was just so bad. Like it was. I mean, it was probably like trying to watch a daytime soap or something. Like I imagine.
And honestly, that show to me is almost like DC Legends of Tomorrow or whatever. Like I just think they're really bad. Like
trash.
But that's a conversation for another day, man. Because you guys get me going on both those shows, and we use up the whole time for that. All right, the next book on my list, and Lasso, I know you're here, so I know you'll appreciate this. And I didn't put this book on because lately, a lot of you guys, not throwing fire at me, but a lot of people are always like, man, why don't you ever talk about DC? Like, do you hate DC? I do not hate DC. I just prefer Marvel. Just like I prefer Nike. I don't wear Adidas. I wear Nike, right? That's just, everyone has their preference. But this is one of my favorite DC characters here. This is a book. I mean, eventually, who knows? Maybe I'll get to it. This is a sought-after book in the DC world. And if this character ever comes back on the big screens, it will probably be out of my range for a very long time. It is Batman 121. First appearance of Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy villain.
Yeah.
Crazy popular. They could do so much.
Oh, yeah.
And it is still a book that, even though it was done horribly by Arnold Schwarzenegger, it is still a book that's like $1,000, even like super low end. It's insane. It's insane.
He's one of those villains that everyone sympathizes with. He's sweet design. You know what I'm saying? Like, came out. Yeah, man. He's just a cool guy.
Though, if they do him like the cartoon, not like how they did Schwarzenegger, with all that white and all that, like, huge, no, like, give me the guy that, you know, has the glass and he's carrying around his wife's ballerina thing and he's got the gun. Give me that one. Don't give me this, like, huge, you know, bazooka guy. Like, I don't want to see that.
I mean, it was pretty cool, man. And that movie did make a sweet drinking game. So for everyone out there, if you're bored,
would be a good choice.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
You don't think he's too old though? Like,
I think Mr. Freeze gives you some flexibility on age because of the suit.
100%.
Yeah, he probably is a little older than you'd want Mr. Freeze to be, but I feel like he could get the part just because there is a lot of CGI there. He's got the iconic voice and he's got the bearing to play the character, which is the big part of it.
The only thing that I would be afraid of is, and I'm not wishing this on anybody because obviously, you know, life is short. It could happen to anybody. But because he's an older person and an older actor, I wouldn't want, because let's face it, we saw it with Joker, right? Like, we had a great Joker, and then unfortunately, you know, life happens. He passed away. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want Patrick Stewart to hit and be amazing, and then just because he's older, you know what I mean? Like, something happened, and then we're like, oh man, you know, something like that. Because I hate when they switch up characters or villains or just like, I want somebody that I'm gonna see for like a trilogy or something like that, right? So,
no, definitely.
All right, Keys.
All right, man. We got to throw it back to some way back in the day here. One of my favorite Batman villains, going off your Batman villain there. World's Finest Comics #3 dropped in 1941, and that is the first appearance of Scarecrow. Now, the biggest thing with Batman, let's be real here. He's a man in a bat suit. He got hella mental issues. Let's be real. And this character came at him psychologically with fear-inducing gas and played with Batman's mind. And I've loved every sequence that this man showed up and messed with Batman or any character, really. They did him great in the Nolan trilogy. I would love to kind of see him again, even though the Nolan trilogy, for me, that was perfect. Video games, animated series, he was just an awesome, no matter the design, he was a fun character to be around. And that's definitely on my grail, man.
Yeah, it's not a bad one to have.
Like, so simple, just a man with a mask, and he's kind of a little loony. Like, that was so simple, but so effective. Everybody has fears. He's going to get to everybody.
Yeah.
So I always thought Scarecrow was a really interesting character, but I always thought that one of the biggest problems with him is that whenever they write him in a story, obviously it's mostly, you know, you see him mostly with Batman and everything like that, but, you know, occasionally you get Nightwings, the Robins, Batgirls, whatever. But when they write him in a story and he uses the fear gas, in the end, the hero always, like, you know, they fight through it for a little while, but then they just get a fucking cure, and then all of a sudden they're good.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I mean, like, I feel like, you know, in writing Batman, this is a guy that goes up against literal gods and everything. I feel like he could fight his way through, like, the fear gas in the end. I mean, do we really just have to give him a cure? Like, give me that story where he doesn't get the cure. Like, that's the story I want to read.
That's some severe PTSD. Like, you can get cured, but you're always going to remember that.
Right.
You're always going to remember what happened.
There's going to be some lasting trauma.
Yeah, man. That's for damn sure. Shoot.
Sana's got a good one here. I don't know if you guys have this one on your grail list. Don't confirm or deny it. But yeah, so that's a Fantastic Four 67. Some people will argue probably get 66. However, I believe it's 67, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's like about a $350-$400 book here in Canada, I believe.
Oh man, I need to
Oh,
go
great.
to Canada and start buying books.
Yeah, that's low grade. That's like 3.0, 4.0. And I know this because that's a book that I'm after as well. But when it comes to Adam Warlock and that whole stuff, like you're gonna get those people that there's like 3 appearances, right? Like they go with that Thor book. There's that what's that other book? There's the Adam Warlock one, like the Marvel premiere, and then there's that one. So there's like 3 or 4 books that people will argue with. Do your research. I think it's Fantastic 467. It's a pretty weird cover, like the cocoon and all that stuff, but that's another event. You saw it on Guardians of the Galaxy. They had that golden cocoon there. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. I would probably buy that book, read what's in that book. So maybe you can get ahead of some other stuff to look into if you're looking for an investment purpose. Definitely look into that. But yeah, definitely a good book. I love Fantastic Four. I love those books, those early books. It's really cool. Oh, Burke's here? Oh, shoot.
Hey, Burke just popped in on us.
FaceTime, I didn't realize. And he's secret, top secret CIA. So, the guys that just joined, we're talking about our top grails. We had a list of 20. We started off with 10 because we wanted to just kind of see where we were at time-wise. We're kind of at halfway point for each of us. FaceTime is just about to give his number 5. FaceTime number 5.
All right, so for my number 5, I got you'll like this one, newbie. It's an Iron Man book. It's but it's 55 though. So first Thanos. It's still an Iron Man book, but obviously first Thanos. I mean, the MCU's big bad. He's been in so many epic storylines in the comics. Jim Starlin killed it when he wrote his early stuff. Infinity Gauntlet, The Crusade. I mean, there's been so many good storylines, and it's kind of interesting because they almost are all rehashed of the same storyline, but they still manage to keep the character being interesting.
Fresh.
Yeah,
definitely.
So Jaguar here has we were actually just talking about his artwork because his girl is an artist and she does a lot of things. Yeah, that they got a lot of art and it is dope.
Yeah, she designed the whole wall behind me. Like those are all pictures that she picked out and everything like that. Comics that she picked out.
So yeah, that's not a bad pick, man. It's a love-hate with me because one, the Iron Man run is really bad. I mean, I can't even lie. Like when it comes to a comic run, I mean, there's only like maybe a handful of books you should get because it is weak. Unfortunately, that is an early one, and that is a big key because it's not only Thanos, but it's also the appearance of Drax. So you have 2 for 1 there. The only issue is when it comes to villains, like it's hard for them to keep their value once they're done. And that's what I always try to preach to people about villains, especially those people who are like huge on Omega Red. It's like, get what you want. I'm only one person with an opinion, but yeah, in my opinion, in the history of what I see in my experience, I guess, villains don't necessarily do good. Because people ask me all the time, they're like, "Oh, do you have that? That you must." And I'm like, no, I'm waiting for that book to go like super low. Unfortunately, you do hear those rumors that Thanos will come back as well, right? So
yeah, I've heard that they're gonna maybe bring him in Eternals or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that. And you have to, with this whole like different dimensions and universes and multiverse and things like that, who's to say he's not, time lapsed or he's alive in another one or things like that. So, we'll see. But again, I mean, guys, don't take it so serious. Comics is supposed to be fun. When you bring up a character, I mean, it's rumor for anything. I could say Squirrel Girl. I could say Ice Cream Man. I could say Yarn Man. Don't take it so literal. It's just
Kite Man.
Kite Man,
Kite Man, come on now.
Different, but
put some respect on the name.
Hey, what's going on, Funk? And yes, Evan, everybody should invest in that book. I preach that book religiously. So definitely pick that book. That's one book. That one and anything Gambit. If I see, anything. X-Men 266 and X-Men Annual 14, I would definitely grab those. Those are 2 books or 3 books with Sinister that I always recommend people grab.
Definitely.
Jaguar kind of went into this a little bit when he mentioned this character just recently. My next book, man, like I just realized my top 10 is kind of like filled with DC, which is kind of weird.
That's unheard of, bro. This man's an imposter.
Yeah, I know.
This is a newbie.
Right?
Well,
Check into the map.
never say that I don't rep DC because I think I have 3 or 4 now. So, okay, so my next book for a Grail, I think she is the sexiest DC woman if they portrayed her properly in today's world. I kind of have a few girls that they could have to play. I know I'm building the suspense here, but
a little bit.
I think it's Batman 181, first appearance of Poison Ivy. That is a badass,
much respect.
Badass book.
Definitely.
Red cover. It's very hard to find. You hear stories. I've heard Gary Very. I've heard Jem Mint. I've heard a lot of guys who are in this comic community, even the big experienced ones, say that is a book they regret selling, and right after they've tried to go and get that book right after, and it's not easy. It's not easy to find that book, especially in good grade. Even the low grades are really ridiculous. You're looking at almost $1,000 for that book, which is insane. Again, another character that if they do it properly, and I think it's once all this Harley Quinn stuff is done, if they do that character properly, it's going to be unreachable. Like it's going to just get to that like $2,000, $1,500 range, and it's going to stay for a while, right? Like look at Moon Knight, look at Blade. Blade, we've seen 3 movies already, and yet the book is still $1,000. Moon Knight, we've never seen them, and it's still like a $2,000-$3,000 book, right? So it's got that kind of possibility, in my opinion. So, and
Nice.
Speaking of, I said, yeah, I'm telling you, Thanos isn't done. He's coming back. Yeah, I think so too, man. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to bring him back at some point. He's too good of a villain not to use again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've always been a big fan of Poison Ivy. I didn't really like how Uma Thurman did it and everything like that.
Who would you cast?
Ooh, right now?
Yeah.
Blake Lively.
The fuck?
Serious? Oh man.
I mean, I can kind of see it, I guess, bro. If I try real hard.
But when they put Heath Ledger as Joker, man, they put him on a cross. They're like, what? No. And then look how good he did.
Oh man, there was a
lot of characters. Look at Iron Man.
What her name was. She was in I think there was a show called Mad Men back in the day. I think her name's Christina Hendricks.
Oh, she's in Good Girls now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't followed her career since then, but
I only know this because my girlfriend watches that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the same one because the other day she was like, "Oh, this is the girl from Mad Men," and I'm like, "Nah, all right, cool, whatever."
Yeah,
like,
she seems like she might fit the role pretty well.
Sana, for the last like 2 days, anytime we talk about a movie or something, she says Angelina Jolie. That is her
every time.
No,
she overrated.
I mean, she's been pretty good in everything she's been in. So
Poison Ivy, though.
I mean, I don't know if I could see her as Poison Ivy, but like she could definitely have a role in the DC universe.
Yeah. Wait. Well, don't forget she's gonna be what's her name in Eternals, right? So.
Yeah, that's actually I'm surprised she took that role, but
no, man, it's Poison Ivy all day for me. Poison Ivy for sure.
What about Mara, bro? Because I know you had a thing for Mara.
Well, she's already done, but like once reading about who
look at this man moving on to the next one already. Wow. Wow.
Man, that Amber Heard chick, she's crazy. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff.
What's your next book, brother?
Oh, this is gonna hurt to say because it's an Iron Man book. This is gonna hurt.
Who are you?
It's really hurt, bro. It hurts. So it took place Civil War II storyline. I gotta go with Tony Stark, Iron Man number 19. I want this book. Why? It reveals that Tony been dead and Captain Marvel killed him. That's why I want it. Just to spite you. That's on my grail. That's on my grail, bro. I'm gonna sign it, Mr. Key Issues, and I'm gonna give it to you, buddy. I'm gonna give it to you.
Right, man. So for all of you guys that don't know, usually I like to take some downtime in my backyard. I usually pop a Corona. I have a fire pit. That's probably where that book will end up. Yeah, man, that's cool. I mean, if you're trying to get some brownie points with Sonic, congratulations.
Oh wow!
Congratulations.
Collective Grail.
Because I just heard this song before we went on live, but it was on the radio. It was like DJ Khaled, and it was like, congratulations, played yourself. Congratulations, man. You played yourself.
Bro, my subscribers just jumped like 150, bro. If anything, everybody love me now.
FaceTime. Let's get to some real books here. What's your next book, brother?
All right, so for my next one, we'll get it back on track. I'm just gonna take the whole little trifecta there. I put Fantastic Four, 48, 49, 50, that whole little trifecta there for Silver Surfer, Galactus. You know, I mean, depending on which one's your favorite, depends on which one you're gonna want more, I guess. But
that is a pricey trio there, man.
It is.
I remember those books like 5-6 years ago. You could get for $200. Now, I mean, I've seen auctions. I've seen Chino and Manny's auction have that a few times. 48, some 49, some 50s, and like I think 49 went for like $1,100 or $1,200 American, man, which is like insane to me. But hey, you know, if you got the cash, I mean, spend it however you want. It's your money. But yeah, that's those two books, 48 and 49, are two books I kind of regret, and I kind of want to have a regret show. There's a lot of books that I'm like,
my whole life.
That's actually a good idea.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
a good idea for one.
And Keith knows this because this just happened a month ago, but we came across like probably track like this of Thor 5, and we were the first ones there. And I remember Keith was like, "Should we?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know." And we walked.
I said, "The hell with Thor."
Yeah, and now each copy is like what, $60, $70. It's a sought after book. So
I cry myself to sleep every night.
It's crazy because I went to my shop and I saw a stack like that too, and I'm just thinking, man, there's all these copies out there. Who the hell is buying these?
Yeah, so it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
All right, my next book. There is no surprise here. He had to have made an appearance. You guys know who he is. But it is Iron Man 1, the premiere issue. If you can't afford Tales of Suspense 39, you know you want to have Iron Man 1. This one is the cheaper buy. This one, again, it's probably going to be on my regret show because I passed up a 7.0 4 years ago for $300.
Oh, no.
7.0s now, I mean, you're talking about $1,000 to $1,100 book. It is unreal. To be realistic and to put in terms of like how much of a loss it is, if you look at a 3.0 now or a 3.5, you're paying almost $600. So big loss there. And again, it's my character. It's the guy that really got me into comics and who I kind of just went with. So yeah, that's definitely a book I personally have in my top 4. I know some people are probably like, oh, he should be number 2 or 1. No, he's number 4.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid choice. Can't go wrong with your favorite character.
No, man.
Yeah, man.
Never.
Yeah. Tony, were you mad when Stan Lee called Tony? No, I wasn't mad. I thought it was hilarious.
Tony stank.
I just pictured my grandpa when like my grandpa was like, "Hey, you," or like calling me one of my sister's names. So
I love Don Cheadle.
Keys, next book, brother.
All right. As you guys know, this is one of my favorite characters of all time right here. No introduction needed to my boy DP. New Mutants 98 is on my grail. And I think we can all New Mutants 98, first Deadpool.
Oh, okay, because you said I thought you were going Dupe or some.
Nah, whoa. Don't say
yeah, easy on Dupe. Easy on Dupe.
Come on now. New Mutants 98, let's be real. We did not know that shit was going to take off as fast as it did, man. That shit just gone. That if there's a regret, jumping on that earlier would have been awesome right 30 now.
Of those when they were
before that movie, Me and Keys have only been friends for about 5 years now.
It's too long.
So before that, I was kind of riding solo and had different friends, obviously. And I remember before the movie, before anything, I remember seeing that book for like nothing, next to nothing. Because people are always like, "Oh, what the hell? Like, who is this?"
Right.
And
and it had a really high print run.
Yeah. It's crazy how that book is like even now, right? Like 2 movies after. There's only, the argument can be made like there's only so much that they could do with that character. Like, how are they going to incorporate him? Is he going to have another solo thing? Things like that. Like, I think that one of the biggest things that speculators and investors, when they're talking about books, they always think of, okay, in a show, is he going to be a cameo in certain movies? Yes, no, boom. And then that dictates the dip the book's going to have and come back. That book, even with the rumors that it's not going to happen, this, that, boom, boom, there's no movie, no nothing, that's still like a $600 to $700 book, low end. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that book. There's one right now on comicshop.com on their auction. And the first day, it was a 9.4. And I think the first day was already at $225 American.
Yeah.
On the first day. That's insane.
And it'll jump on the last day too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It always
final hour.
It always do, man. And for those of you who aren't familiar with my comic shop, I just want to let you guys know this because I try to help people as much as possible. Those auctions are not like eBay. So even if you wait till the last minute to put a bid, my comic shop will give you 2 minutes extra. So don't wait. I've been one of those people where I'm like, I'm going to wait till the last minute and put it in.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
It doesn't work. It doesn't help. You're just adding more time to the book being yours or somebody else's. So just keep that in mind.
My comic shop going to find out who really wants it.
Yeah, exactly, right? I kind of like the fact that they give you that, right? Like if Keys has been on the book and he's the holder and then I put a bid, I like how they give just the final 2 people like that 2 minutes, back and forth. I kind of do like that.
Yeah.
All right. Whose turn is it now? Mine? No. Face down.
Me? Okay. Yeah. All right. So I actually had New Mutants 98 on my list, and since that one got picked, I'm gonna go ahead and pick a different one off of my extras. I'm gonna go ahead with Marvel Preview number 7, and this is a first appearance of. It's actually a character. He had a different name at the time. He would later go by Rocket Raccoon. But when he first came out, they actually called him Rocky Raccoon.
Yes.
It was a really weird story. The first couple stories are nothing like his later appearances and stuff. But it was a very different one for his first appearance. Completely separate from how the characters later is portrayed in the comics.
That's another.
But he's a favorite.
Yeah, I think that's another book, though. Don't people argue what the first appearance is? Because a lot of people who hold that Hulk book will say, "Oh no, that's the first appearance." But I think it's the one that you just said.
Yeah, there is some debate about it because obviously in Hulk he starts going by Rocket. And again, it just comes down to personal preference. For me, an appearance is an appearance. If Market wants to say that Marvel Preview 7 is his first appearance, then that's the one I'm going to go with.
It sounds like what book you're holding, right?
Right.
Like if you're holding that book, obviously you're going to be team whatever that book is because you have the damn book.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's like a lot of the current debates that are going on in the market. People tend to side with whichever book they tend to own. So,
that's crazy, man. That's a good book. I had that Hulk book. I sold it. I had 2 copies in my time, and I've sold it. One I got really nice money for. It's just a book that came to me through a trade. I had found a big collection of Superman action comics, and I traded them in for that Hulk book because I don't really like to hold on to characters that I don't like. And this guy was really crazy Superman fan. Like he had like this lunch pail of Superman that was like worth like $5,000 or something. Like this is how obsessed this guy was, right? So I made the trade just because Superman wasn't my thing. I got it cheap, and he had a book I wanted, but it was a book that I just flipped because if you can come across a book that you can flip and go and buy something that you like, I totally recommend it. I mean, I don't think you're doing any harm because, it's supply and demand, right? There's people who like certain characters, so why not? What's up, Run Comics? Thanks for joining us, brother. All right, so my next book is another person I don't think a lot of people would peg me to say or even have association with. This is a book, man, if I could come across this book, I think I've held like a 7.0 of this book. I could be wrong.
Oh, wow.
8 or something. It's one of those books, when I saw it at a con, I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, man, do you mind if I just like hold this book?
Because so you literally just held it.
Yeah, it's that bad. So like, at least I could say, like these hands touch that book. But this is Fantastic Four #5. This is the first appearance of Dr. Doom.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Can't go wrong with some Dr. Doom goodness.
This is one of the most iconic villains, DC, Marvel, anything. Just one of the iconic bad guys in any story. They've butchered him in anything they've done movie-wise.
Yeah, they have.
And he still holds his value. The comic is still so fucking hard to find. It's unreal. It holds value, like I said, when they do them properly and they find a way to market, because I think that's the key word. And I think when you're collecting comics, especially for a flip or an investment, I always talk about, is it marketable? Because if the character is not marketable, guess what? If the popularity is not there and they can't market it, then it's not going to drive a price. If a book and a character can be marketable and they can drive it, man, you're going to see that character everywhere, and that book or whatever is going to be crazy to find. But that Dr. Doom book, I think, like most of the Grails on my list, if the character were to be done properly and the popularity came, it's going to double, if not triple. And that's already almost like a $1,500 to $2,000 book, which is insane.
Yeah, it's amazing that they haven't done him well in the movies either, because he is such a popular character. You'd think somebody would have gotten him right by now,
right?
And it sucks because like I don't want to say like, oh, when they did it back then it was like super cool, because any generation or any decade you're in, it's like, hey, this is the best decade or this is the best generation. But look back on them, and even the 2015 one, like it was done so shitty. It was done so bad.
Yeah.
So, and they had the technology, the CGC or CGI and all that stuff to make it proper. I just think that they I don't understand this infatuation with Sony or whoever, does the movies, with them bringing him in and then killing him off or like getting rid of him. It's like, you could technically be like a Thanos, where we could see him stretched out. So yeah, it's crazy to me. And the cover, he's on the cover. Austin, what's going on, brother? He's on the cover, which is always a good thing. I always like buying books with the first appearance when the character is on the cover. I think it just adds more value to it.
Yeah.
And it's just better for you, especially if you're one to hold books or slab them, put them on a case, something like that. It's always just nice to be like, oh yeah, that's the first appearance of Boom, and you can see him on the cover.
All right.
Oh. Doom as Iron Man though, yeah, infamous Iron Man #1. Definitely, I recommend buying that book. That is a book I will be talking about shortly in one of my videos. But that is a book you can still get cheap. That is the first appearance of Iron Man AI, and there's a part where, there's like a Dr. Doom and Iron Man thing going. So that's cool. All right, Keys, what's your next book, brother?
All right, so right off the bat, my next book is Amazing Spider-Man 654. Let's be real, the cover is trash.
654.
But yeah. So it's the first Agent Venom.
Oh, Agent. Yeah, Agent.
654, yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
First Agent Venom. Here's the thing. Everybody knows I love Eddie Brock as Venom. But what I like, the cover's trash once again, is the redemption story around Flash Thompson. The man suffers from PTSD. He has an abusive father. He's an alcoholic at this time. The man has many demons to fight. And then you throw on the Venom symbiote, which is supposed to like say what? Say what? Whatever, man. What? Minor details. Yeah. Shoot. So you throw it on him, and he doesn't turn evil nor selfish, and still fights for a cause and good. Man, that is like the craziest redemption story. Because if I had that suit, I'd be running amok, bro. World's fastest, best friggin' criminal out there, and that's what I love about it, because it like just shows that no matter how, like, for me, once again, this is all sentimental. No matter what you go through, what hardships you go through, you can always make it out on the better side in the end, man. So that one really hit home for me, and I should own it.
We went very deep there.
That book is near and dear, man. That book is near and dear. Man.
I'm just
But he's gonna be mad as shit if it ends up that Flash is Virus or Codex.
Yo.
The more I think about that whole Codex thing, the more I'm like, okay, if they didn't make Virus so like obvious, what makes you think they're gonna make Codex obvious, right? So I just started thinking about that in the last couple of days. So
yeah, shout out to Jaguar in the chat. Jaguar. Shout out for showing me some love on my video there.
And if you
that was awesome.
I know
one up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo,
I know most people in the chat already have, but if you haven't, make sure you check out Key Issues. He posted a video debunking and showing all his info and how he got to the answer that he got. I don't want to ruin it for you, but he thinks that he cracked the virus code. So if you're into that, go check him out. Of course, love him. Support the community.
But what I am pissed about my pick.
Theory as any that are out there right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. Shoot.
It really is.
Shit.
And probably has more research than most of them.
Yeah, definitely. All right, FaceTime. Your next book, brother?
Okay, so my next book, Batman Adventures number 12. First appearance of Harley Quinn. It's not in continuity, but it's her first comic book appearance, so who cares? It's
facts.
The cover on it is a classic cover. It's actually not one of the better Batman Adventure covers, but it's a classic just because it's the first Harley.
It's got poison.
And it's expensive as hell.
It's got poison.
I was gonna say, how much is that going for you?
Oh,
going
man.
for by you?
That book is probably it's cooled off.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be. It's definitely several $100.
It was on the hot 100 for about a year and a half straight, man. Like number one. Yeah, it was crazy. If you go on, sometimes I go and check out what they have to offer, but Sell My Comics, they do 100 hot comics. They do the 100 best Silver Age, Gold Age, Bronze, Copper, all of them to take a look. And I always kind of just go and see what they add on their list. And I remember when Harley Quinn was coming out, that book was like number one for like almost a year and a half. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in the top 5 for like 3 years almost. So it's unreal, man.
Yeah, it's a solid one. It's one that's on everybody's list for the most part, but how can it not be? It's first Harley, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jaguar saying, that's on his list too. Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with any of those DC ladies, especially the villains.
Right.
Me, I'd probably go Poison Ivy before, just because for the same money value, you can go and get Poison Ivy now. And we kind of already are seeing the, not to say the character's done. It's just I just think DC might be kind of milking it now to the point where like, okay, when's the next character we're gonna see, right? So definitely, you might be able to get that book, down the road cheaper than right now. If you can wait, I'd probably recommend waiting.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next book, which would be my second book on my list, is, and I don't think a lot of people know about this book to begin with. This is a hard-ass book. Again, this would be on my regret show because this book, 5 years ago, I came across it for $300, and I was like, no, that's kind of too much. I don't think they're going to do this. This is Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1. For those of you that don't understand or don't know that book, that is the first appearance of Sinister Six. That is what I think they're leading to right now with, getting all these villains together and things like that. I really think that that's going to happen. The book is crazy. I think like a 2.0 is like $2,200 or something like that, or 20 or 1,800, somewhere around that ballpark. That's Canadian. So like I always say, do the conversion on your own, guys, for the Americans. What's going on, Doc J? But yeah, that's a book I've always wanted to get. You don't see a lot of the high grades, so even those low grade books are definitely hard to find, and they're pricey as hell.
Yeah.
Right. That's an understatement.
I think if they were to do the Sinister Six, though, they wouldn't necessarily do it with the Sinister Six from the actual comic. I think that they would come up with different ones.
A different version.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would do like Sandman and all of them. I think they would just get the characters that they've kind of already done and kind of, because you don't have to follow the comics. Let's be real. You don't have, when you're making a movie, they're two different people, two different companies, two different bodies. You don't have to follow the comic at all.
Yeah.
Are you going to piss off the comic community? Absolutely, but they don't have.
I mean, some of those decisions kind of make sense too. Like, I can't really see Sandman being a viable option for a Sinister Six movie because he's so CG heavy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of other characters that I think that they would just be like, well, why don't we just switch them out and use Kraven or something like that?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, that when they do introduce them, I think that that's what they're going to have. You know, I think they'll have like
Chameleon.
Rhino. I think they'll have Shocker. I think they'll have Scorpion. I think they'll have Chameleon. I think that's another book. You could find that book maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago in dollar bins for like $10 all day, and now it's like $100 book. If they drop, I mean, who knows? I mean, you everybody in the comic book world knows what sells and what holds value. Spider-Man, early Fantastic Four, early Batman. That's Spider-Man stuff. It's a first appearance. It's a villain. Why not pick it up for $50 or $40 if it comes up to fruition and the character shows up? On average, anything that's significant in Spider-Man holds a value of almost $200. Why wouldn't you take that risk? Right? So, like, look at Madam Web. Madam Web is like a $250 book, people. So, and Chameleon's got more going for it than Madam Web, right? So, just keep that in mind. You guys are sorry, man. All right, Keys, what's your next book, brother?
All right, man. You want an expensive ass one, or you want one that's like, I've been on the lookout in the wild and can't find?
Whatever you think, man. Whatever you think.
Shoot, bro. All right, so
only two left.
Yeah. I think the whole expensive one's overrated, so I'm gonna skip that one. But Web of Spider-Man 118, 119, intro to Ben Reilly. As soon as I saw that character as a kid, the Scarlet Spider, in that mean hoodie, I was like, this is my boy right here. This dude is coming out with the hoodie, whooping ass.
Oh, what's that?
Right, yo? So I cannot find one in the wild, man. And I refuse. I refuse to buy one online.
Dude,
I need this.
We've come across that.
No, we have not, man.
Yeah. The first
we have not.
Riley,
I will argue this. I will argue this.
We've come across it. We've come across early.
Point that shit out.
I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
Lies, bro.
What's it called? John has one in his collection.
Yeah, but John,
$10. He wanted $10.
Bullshit. He wanted $10.
He wanted $10.
I'm calling up John right now.
Shoot, I'm about to make the sale on.
I'm just saying. I think it was low grade.
Picture.
I think it was low grade. I could totally see that character popping up too. I know that's what
man.
I'm on the lookout for. It's just, like you, man. I refuse to pay some of these fees that online they have that book for, because it does not hold that value. Like, I don't think that book should be a $250, $300 book in high grade. The max I'd probably pay for that book is maybe $100 at a high grade right now.
Right, but sentimental value. But like, still, bro, out of pocket, damn.
Right? I mean, you can't put a price. I'm a big believer. You can't put a price on. It's like that saying in comics. Like, oh, what's this book worth? It's worth whatever someone's willing to pay, right? You can look at what another copy sold for the market, but until you find that buyer, I mean, who's to say you're going to get that money, right? So, that if it's sentimental to you, then it just depends on how much you want to pay for that book to be in your collection. There's books that are never going to leave my collection, like this one. This one I paid
$50
for. I paid a pretty penny for it because that's a book I've been chasing a long time. I finally got the right buyer, and it's a 5.5. So it's not really low, but it's also not really high. It's in the middle. So
true.
All right, FaceTime, your second book on the list.
All right. So my second to last book, I got Swamp Thing 37, First Constantine.
Yes.
Another one of my favorite characters. He's just got the right attitude for me. Always smoking a cigarette and just being an asshole. I mean, how do you not love him?
Man, that book, like in the past 3 months, maybe 4 months, it just exploded. Like,
it's going up so much.
I think people have just given up on that book, and a lot of people, because this book has also gone up, but it's Justice League Dark number 9.
Mm-hmm.
He also joins that team in that issue.
Yeah.
A lot of people are, and that's why that book I think is almost like $150 too, because people are like, okay, I can't afford 37, so what do people do? They go on to the next one, right? And that's the next one. So yeah, I personally like that cover. I know I'm more for the white and black covers, some of the red too. I think the red pops, but that yellow cover, man, that's a beautiful cover. Beautiful.
And with the rumors about Keanu Reeves maybe taking up the chart again, it's only going to get worse until that ends up not happening.
Man, I feel like Keanu Reeves is up for like anything. I made a joke like a month ago where somebody said something about Keanu Reeves, and I was like, "Oh yeah, did you hear Keanu Reeves is the rumored to play Yarn Man?" And somebody was just like,
"Do it."
That's stupid. I'm like, well, you just talked to me for an hour, and you've literally named 10 characters, and you're like, oh well, the guy that's gonna play him is Keanu. Like he can't.
Yeah, he's playing everybody.
Like he can't play them all. So
they got to be a John though. The name has to be John. That's the only thing. Got John
Persona.
Wick. John
I heard they were
Constantine.
going to make an Angelina Jolie biopic, and Keanu Reeves is going to play her. I don't know. She might be into that. I mean, he's literally playing anything at this point.
I still watch it, bro.
Right? I'm sure somebody. Yeah, anything he touches is gold.
It's true.
Actually, it's true.
So listen, we're coming on our final pick. However, if the chat's cool with it, I mean, I don't mind staying on, and because originally we had 20, but I don't mind hopping on and giving a few more books and talking it because the chat's kind of getting into it. We're getting a few new people, so just let us know right after FaceTime does his last one. This is my last one, guys. This is the biggest grail. When I told my girlfriend how much this book was, I told her jokingly I was going to sell our house and we were going to move into a small condo because that's how much I wanted this book. And she goes, do you really need to sell the house in order to buy this book? Like, how expensive can this book be? And I said, you know what, babe? Some copies are in the 80,000. Some copies are in the 40,000, 20,000, 10,000. I think the cheapest I've seen is about 4,000. But this is arguably the greatest grail of all time. There's no doubt. The man that started it all.
Oh, get that shit out here.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
I am so surprised.
Tales.
I know. I could swear. I think somebody randomly called that in chat earlier. It was amazing.
No, Billy. Tales of Suspense 39. That has got to be the greatest grail of all time. Why?
Is that the
in the run? Yeah, Tin Man. It's not even in the run of Iron Man. It's crazy. It holds value like crazy. The people that own that book, you don't see that book for sale a lot because that book holds value and it's dear. The Iron Man community is small. I mean, it's big with newer people. You know how that saying there's old money and new money? There's new Iron Man people. I'm more old school, I think. But yeah, the newer Iron Man people, I mean, I think they're the ones driving up this price because a few years ago, like anything, right? It was cheaper. So, yeah, this book, if I were to ever get it,
oh man,
I've already told my girlfriend. I've already told my sisters, who are my beneficiaries, if anything happens to me. I told them, if I ever get this book goes in the coffin, in the grave with me. That is how much the book means to me.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
But now you got a poster. You're fine. You're good. That's bigger than life
Right?
itself. Yo, for everyone in the chat, this man just picked up that poster today.
It's not
Firstly,
a poster. It's like a frame thing. It's
I'm
like
gonna call it a poster. I'm gonna call it a poster. All right, I'll call it a poster. It's a giant freaking thing, and he's like, "Bruh, I need this." And I drove, and I'm like, "Not in my car. Not in my car. You putting that shit, bro." So we hop out the comic shop, and I'm looking around, like, "Yo, does anyone seeing this man holding this giant ass piece of shit? Like, holy, sketchy. I hate you for buying it. I hate that I drove you back home with it."
Oh my god!
That's great.
Jesus.
So my number one, everyone's like, "Oh, it's X-Force 116, first due." Gotcha, bitch. It's not. We got to go with X-Statics number 25. And this is why I chose this right here. Full screen me, Joel. I ain't even playing right now. You see this right here? That's Mjolnir, and that's a bottle. My boy Dupe holding a bottle about to bust this man's head top. Put me back in the small screen.
Cover.
So, for any of my Dupe doubters, this right here, he goes toe-to-toe with Thor. The man's head is bashed up. He's missing pieces of his brain, and he still holds on Thor, bro. Holds him down. Godly power. He wasn't even at full strength. Dupe Army, we shall rise. That's FaceTime, Panda, Son, and Newbie, the whole army. Burke's in it now. The Dupe Alliance, Dupe Army.
So let me get this straight for a second. Hold on.
That is 25.
I was with you when you bought that book. I think that book is a $5 to $8 book.
Bro, that's a holy
number one grail.
And hey,
$6,000 book, and you're talking about an $8 book.
Hold up. Could you not get like a New Testament Bible for free? Boom, it's a holy grail. This right here is a holy grail.
You know, it's actually funny. You got like Newbie's got like a $6,000 book. You got like an $8 book, and I'm like right in the middle at about $100 for my number one grail.
This is diversity at its finest.
Right?
This is crazy. All right, FaceTime. We gotta move on.
So like I said, mine is actually relatively affordable. It's not one of those big pricey ones. But it's one of my favorite characters in comics, and a lot of people actually, they might have heard of the book, but they don't know much about it. It's called Transmetropolitan Number 1. It's the first appearance of a character named Spider Jerusalem. And this book is not a traditional superhero book. Okay, it's by Warren Ellis and Derek Robertson, and Spider Jerusalem is actually a newspaper reporter. And there was some incidents that happened. He left. It's set in the future. He left the city, went up into the mountains to hide away. And his boss calls him. He's got to come back down to write some new stuff for his boss. And it's very political. It's a great book. It's hilarious. He runs around. His main weapon of choice is a bowel disruptor. It's a great book. I can't say enough good things about it.
Damn, man, I've never heard of that book. So,
buddy, I remember this. My cousin. So, throw back to my origin story. My cousin actually introduced me to this man same time as Spawn, and I was petrified. So I stayed away from all that dark shit for a little bit. But yo, that's a sweet pick, man.
Yeah,
that
is
such
a good book.
I do know this book that Dr. J says, that Blue Marvel one, that is an expensive ass book. That is. Man, when you're talking about regrets, that's another book, man. That's going to be my next show. Biggest regrets.
Right. That was this entire show. What do you mean?
Biggest regrets.
I had a chance at this once.
I think you got time. I think you got time. If Keys and FaceTime, if you guys are down for like maybe just doing like 2 or 3 more, I think we got the chat in it. If you guys want to chat, I know we did 10 to 1 or 1 to 10. I mean, I got my 20 to 11 list, but I'm willing to go and talk a few more if you guys are down.
I actually normally would be, 20. But my boss just called me and asked me if I could come in and work some overtime. So I guess I'm gonna go do that.
All right, man.
Gotta make the money to get these comics.
Yeah.
No worries, man. Hey, thanks for joining us, brother.
Hey, no problem.
That was exclusive right here, boys.
First appearance. I'm sure.
Hey, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
I'm sure we'll do some more stuff. I'll see you guys again later.
All right, brother. Thank you.
See you, boss.
All right, guys. So we're gonna, Keys, like, do you want to talk some? I mean, I think we could do like 2 more. 2
All
or 3.
right, I'm down for that. I'm down for that, man.
Yeah, Bake the Snake. I did this one was my number 3, actually. I had this as number 3. I think it's a badass villain. Definitely a book I think everybody should have, but it's expensive as fucking hell. All right. Whack out. I know, I swore a lot. Okay, so we did our top 10 list. We didn't get to a top 20, so we're just going to talk about a few that are from 20 to 11 because we just did 1 to 10. So, Keys, in no specific order, I'm just going to throw the issue out, and we can discuss it. But it is where I got it. Fantastic Four, number 4. This is the first Silver Age appearance of Namor, aka the Scarlet.
That is your boy, bro. You've been going on about this guy for years.
You know what? Now. To talk about another regret, that this book like years ago was like $250, $300, and now it's a $1,200 book. It's insane.
That's insane, man. Re-upload this whole thing and just rename it as the regrets video.
Yeah, I think I have to. Yeah, and that's a really cool cover. It's a yellow cover. He's on the cover. It's sharp. It's really hard to find a book of that caliber in really high grade just because it is a badass book to get. It's an old book to get. He is coming. So, yeah, if you have that, consider yourself lucky. Hold on to that because you probably will hit the $1,500 to $2,000 mark when that character drops. And is that Black Panther in Endgame where they talk about that earthquake, things like that. So you never know when he could come up. I think he's coming up sooner than later. So definitely a book I would be on the lookout for.
100%, man. 100%. That's a good pick.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to address that earlier. Even on my laptop, sometimes it freezes, and I've been having to refresh it periodically. Man, something's up. It's never happened before.
That's really weird. Well,
yeah, man.
Shit.
It is what it is. Hey, they can watch the rewind.
Yeah, that's true. All right, man. So what's another book you got for us on?
All right, man. Speaking about impossible books to get worth thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars. Batman, issue number 1, dropped in 1940. It's the only reason I want this is it's the first Joker. Let's be real. We've talked villains before. This is possibly one of the best comic book villains to date.
I think it's one of the greatest villains of all time.
100%. 100%. That's what I said. Till date. Wait until something else comes.
Okay.
But imagine back then, right? You pick this up. It's the first issue. You're like, all right, it's Batman, issue number 1. We're away from Detective Comics now. And then you see this stupid clown. And the clown is just kind of annoying. And in the very first appearance of this clown, he gets locked up immediately. And it's like, oh, I'll find a way out. And you're like, this is a waste. And now look at it, man. We got movies talking about, the social problems. We have a legacy now. So that's why it's my top pick, bro.
That's all right. That's a good pick. Especially like what it is now. I think that's really good.
Yeah, man.
The next one for me would be, and this is more of a, I don't know, I guess for me, it's something that brought me into comics because not only did Iron Man and the early 90s Spider-Man cartoon bring me into comics, but I have to credit a lot of that to that early 90s X-Men show as well. A lot of people forget that X-Men show and Spider-Man kind of followed each other.
Godly.
In the cartoon world and in TV programming. This one, I love the cover, first of all. However, growing up, I was very scared of these people. I was kind of scared of these people, being like a young kid, and I don't think a lot of people would have this on their list necessarily, but this is X-Men 14. This is the first appearance of the Sentinels.
Oh, yeah.
That is a dope cover, first of all. Even though the Sentinel on the cover looks badass and scary, it's that cover where he's like, whatever. Iconic villains, I guess you could say, to the X-Men and things like that. It is a crucial part in the X-Men world.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see them moving forward. So
have to.
I
mean, they were sweet in Days of Future Past. I think that was just a sweet iteration of them, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not gonna say I was scared of them because like big robots, but they were a presence on screen, man. Such a good presence. That's a good pick.
Lasso here says not only do you get the first Joker, but you get the first Catwoman in the same issue.
I didn't know that. I was just in it for Joker, in all honesty.
Cool. Where is that? Mention that. Sentinels are scary. Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's not a bad book, man.
Nah.
Yeah. What's the next book you got?
I got a series, bro.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Only a 4-issue series. If you have a chance to, like, I don't know, cop them mad cheap or just somehow preview them online or something, just do it. It's Deadpool, and it's called Killustrated.
Killustrated?
It's on my Grail because it's such a fun read. So there was a time where I was working way too much. I could never run to a shop. So I just used my tablet, and I got a whole bunch of digital copies and stuff. But it's a 4-issue series, and we all know Deadpool can break the fourth wall. So after trying to killing the Marvel Universe, he's like, this isn't enough. I'm going to kill the idea of a superhero. So he goes back to like different books and stuff like that, like major pieces of what's the word I'm looking for? Major pieces of works, like literary works, like Moby Dick and whatnot. And he kills off the characters, and eventually he starts killing off the writers and killing off the people at Marvel. It was a sweet line. It was just fun. It's just, if you want fun, senseless, awesome humor, read that. Deadpool Illustrated dropped in 2013, I think. It was a fun run, man.
Not bad.
That's on my Grail.
That's not bad.
It's like one of those movies. It's like, all right, I can watch it again because I had a good time. You know?
The next book for me, this one, I kind of talked about this one in, I think the other one that follows this one was on my number 8 list. So it's only right to talk about this book. This book will have arguments. It still has arguments. People still argue and debate it. That's kind of one of the reasons why I love it so much, not only for the art and the character that's introduced, but it is Hulk 180.
Oh, 80.
I talked about 181. Now I'm going to be talking about 180. If you have enough cash flow to get both books, definitely grab both. Obviously, people who only own one or the other will say that is the book, that is the first appearance, especially in today's world with comics of, like, you know, what is considered a cameo, what is considered a first appearance. You still have those people who say 180 is the true appearance. So it's always up for debate. I think it's a fun debate. I think people sometimes take the debates way too serious. It should be fun. It is comics. So yeah, but that's all. That's all the book I would really love to have in my personal collection for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I can respect that. What else I got on this list, bro? I got some Spawn. Now, you own one of my Grails.
Oh.
Straight up, you have one of my Grails. I've been trying to cough it. Wait, which one's this? I can't see. Let's bring my baby forward. That's it. That's my boy right there. We're talking about Amazing Spider-Man 361. That book is a beauty. Although I really love 360, and if you haven't seen the panel that shows the Carnage face, please take a look at it because that is such a cool appearance. But 361. Oh. Oh man. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's on my Grail, bro.
It's all right. It's no Venom.
As a new collector, that's what I need to get. I feel the need to eventually get.
Yeah, and you have to. And what I would recommend to you, because we've had conversations, and you know how much I paid for this one.
Yeah.
I've always told people, you know, if you're into the Carnage, don't fall for the trap. I don't necessarily think he's going to have a jump like Venom did. I think Venom will always trump what Carnage does. So probably just wait until after the movie to get it, especially if he's a character that you want, because I think the price will go lower, you know?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so too, man.
But 360, shoot, I'd probably get 360 all day if I can find it cheap.
I got 344. I would love it, you know? Like,
it's a good trifecta to have. It's a good trifecta to have, and if you don't have 361, it's not a bad idea to get 344 and 360. Definitely not a bad idea. All right, man. For my next one, I'm going to go old school on this one as well, but it is Fantastic Four number 3. This is the first Fantastic Four costume and car. It's got the car on the cover. I think it's totally badass because I don't think – I mean, they try to attempt that in the movie, I believe it was, where they brought that stupid car.
I don't even remember that.
I think it's dorky, but yeah. I just think it's cool because it's the first time you see them in that Fantastic Four costume that we all know them to be in. So I think it's cool. It's number 3, so it's super freaking early, and it's still expensive as hell. I think the last one I saw was about $800, $700, somewhere around there. And I mean, the only significance is it's the first cart and the first costume. I mean, it has big time value because of the costume, but not most people will overlook this, and only big time buyers will get this book.
Facts. I'm not a huge Fantastic. I would never, I see the value, but I'd never gravitate towards that. You know what I'm saying? That's not one that I'm not a big Fantastic Four guy. I respect them. I respect what they birthed and everything, but and the car, I don't know this car, man. I gotta look this up.
I kind of am, I guess. Yeah. I love the early Fantastic Four runs. Anytime I see early Fantastic Four comics and bins, I'm always asking how much for the collection. I just think they're dope. Dope art, early. And most of them have value because it is super early in the comics.
Facts.
All right, man. Nice book for you.
Whew, man, I honestly think it's my last book.
All right.
And just because we're up in the Great White North, Canada, this is why this is on my Grail. I own the Grail. It's super cheap. It just hits home for me. Everybody knows Duke, Deadpool, Spider-Man, Venom, and Spawn are probably my characters. So this past week, Spawn 308 drops. Yeah, okay. Nothing crazy about it. But as we know, the creator of Spawn, Canadian. Spawn, one of my favorite characters. And if you got the cover B looks like it's drop. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll check this out. I'll check this out, man. If you have the cover B, that cover was done by Ken Lashley, who's a Canadian artist who actually doesn't live too far from us. And buddy, if you're ever seeing this, Ken, please sign the shit out of this, please, man. I'm gonna try eventually to reach out to this man and get him. I gotta meet this guy, So that's why it's on my Grail. All Canadian lineup, sweet characters, sweet storyline. That's why it's a Grail. Canada.
It's not bad. Yeah, he lives around here. For those of you that don't know, Ken Lashley works for Marvel, writes for Spawn and a few other things. He lives here. Super nice guy. I've tried connecting with him to be on the show, to support. Not only to give me some love, but to show him some love, just to have that Canadian access. So yeah, who knows if that'll happen, but he is a busy guy. But yeah, he's one of the nicest guys around here. He's always at one of our local shops just signing stuff. He specifically shops at this one store here. So, from time to time you do see him. Super nice guy.
The hell with COVID for ruining my dreams.
Yeah, Doc J says that he's seen him. Yeah, super nice guy, approachable. So you could talk comics with that guy all day. It's unreal.
Sign this.
Yeah. That was your last one. I got 2 other books, and just because I just kind of want to talk about them, but the one is obviously Amazing Spider-Man 129, Punisher, yellow cover.
Yeah.
It's actually the first appearance of the Jackal?
Jackal.
Yeah.
Jackal.
So you got a 2-for-1 there. Yellow cover, badass. But again, that's almost like a $1,500 book, which is insane. And the other book, and this will be the final book I talk about, is more of a modern book. I think this is the only modern book I have on this list. Again, guys, if I could call this show the Regret Show, this book I passed up a 9.6 years ago for like $120, and I was like, this isn't nothing. This is XYZ XYX3, first appearance of Laura Kinney, Wolverines.
Shit.
Yeah, this book in a 9.6 is like $1,000 now. It's unreal. So that's another book that I kind of regret buying. That's one on my list. I actually had this as number 11 on out of my 20. Believe it or not, that's how much I believe in it. And it is a modern grail. Like, that's how people talk about it. It is a modern grail. And I know a lot of people don't like modern or anything like that. But let's face it, it is a grail. It is a book that is very sought after. It's not
100%.
out there a lot. And people who have it, keep it close to them. You don't really see that book being sold a lot. So that's another reason. So, yeah. So
That's a good
man,
pick.
I'm pretty pumped that FaceTime came to join us and talk some books. It's always nice to have, 3 or 4 people on, especially when you're talking about grails and things that are more opinionated. Like I love to hear, what everyone's grail is. And like, Keon has some that are very affordable or just have something for him. Like he's got a love for them, and that's what a grail is, right? It's more valuable to you than anybody else, and when you have
kind of reflects every collector, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's with every collector, and I think that's the beauty part about it, right? So because I'll tell you right now, 14 was Demon in a Bottle for me. That's $100 book, 150, but it means something to me because of the character and things like that. So yeah, guys, always remember, just collect what you have. I'd love to do another grail. If anybody else wants to join us at another time and talk grails, hit me up. I'll put you on the show. Always love talking comics. That's it for me. Please do me a favor. Go sub up and go follow FaceTime. Very knowledgeable guy. Really cool dude in the comic community. Don't forget to sub up. Mr. 100 plus now. Mr. Key Issues. He has got another video dropping. He's dropping content weekly. He joins me on Comic Talk Tuesdays, and he's usually my guest. So definitely make sure you check him out. As for me, I will be dropping my giveaway probably on Saturday. So make sure you have it on Saturday. I have the wheel ready to go. I have the names, the first 1,000 people for that. So on Saturday, I will be doing the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, guys, that's it for me. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, we'll see you guys again.
See you.